Do we have any viewers with us? Hi again. So, let's wait. Who has joined us? Hi, Salman Khan. You have a very famous name. Well, what's new is that we have a new episode of Social Mob Shuffle, and we have an epic artist with us today who I will intro as soon as he comes live. We have people joining us. Hey there. You're listening to Social Mob Shuffle once more. We interview amazing artists. Yes, let's mob it up. Yeah. So Social Mob Shuffle is an initiative by Social Mob to, have a casual conversation and get to know about the musical journeys about the indie artists on Social Mob. And today we have an amazing band. Actually, one of the members is representing the band, metal band. So we'll be having him with us shortly. Hi. Hi. So the star of the shuffle has arrived, and I will be inviting him presently to join us. He is Siddharth Kadadi, representing Zignema, a heavy metal band from Mumbai. Hi, Siddharth. Hi, nice to have you on Social Mob Shuffle. Your audio is a bit unclear.
Okay. Any better?
Yes, now it's good. Awesome. So, to whoever is coming in now, slowly they'll be coming in.
Sure.
We are holding our Social Mob Shuffle with Siddharth Kadadi. He is representing Zignema, a metal thrash band on Social Mob. So slowly we'll start off. So Siddharth, can you tell us like a little bit about Zignema? I've obviously read about Zignema a lot, but for the viewers who are joining in.
Sure. Well, we are a bunch of old dudes now, but we started this band when we were young and angry in our early 20s. So we started off playing a bunch of college competitions, and that's where we managed to connect with most of the audience, where a lot of engineering colleges and medical colleges back in the day used to have these battle of bands, and we would shamelessly participate in everything because you are just an upcoming band and people don't know you that much, so you're not still worthy enough to be a part of a big bill. So for us, our only outlet was to just enter all these college competitions and just play, and if you win, you get a huge chunk of cash prize, and that was our primary motive so that we could save up for our first album. And thankfully it worked out.
Oh, so that's awesome. Yeah, so you're saying that all of you met during college, like everybody was a metalhead together and then you formed a bond over that?
Yes, and surprisingly none of us are from the same college. In fact,
Oh wow.
so
Okay.
we got, myself and Jimmy, the singer of a band, we met at a guitar teacher's place. Both of us were learning guitar with Timir, who used to play for Scepter back in the day. And
Okay.
yeah, and
Hmm.
in fact, we bonded immediately because we had similar taste in music, and we liked the same artist. So it was a
Hmm.
lot of fun. And initially, for the first 18 months, it was just a two-piece band, where we would just keep meeting and just writing some rubbish which never made it to any of
Experimenting.
our record. Yeah, we were just having fun and trying to explore it, what it actually feels to write your own compositions. Because back in the day, it was a mandate, like, you will be judged by the ability to play a cover.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
Huh.
and
That is interesting.
we didn't want to fall into that category where you're playing five covers and one original. So we had planned, like, at least have three originals and play two covers, something like that. And even we would end up,
Okay.
like, playing a medley of a cover, because honestly playing covers was too boring. And
That's the spirit of indie actually, right? To start
yeah,
something of your own,
yeah, and
original.
by the time we actually, by the time we had all four members in the band, uh, we were playing competitions and playing only originals. And then slowly, after a couple of years, colleges started accepting original music as your entry to playing college competition.
Okay.
So
That's interesting.
yeah, things changed somewhere in 2007, 8, I guess, and for the best.
Okay, so the two-man band was formed way before 2006.
Like around 2006, and gladly we had passed out from college. We didn't, we were not sitting in college for too long, but yeah, I think we all were still in our final year, and we met at a guitar teacher's place. And one of my friend, he recommended Mayank, and he said, like, he's a fantastic drummer. Like, why don't you, like, jam with him? And then Jimmy already knew our previous bass player Ravi, who was there on the first album. And it just took us like half an hour to say, like, yes, like, this is it. Let's just do what we need to do. You know?
Yes. So I'll just read some of the. So I think Harry's diary is saying, "Hey Siddharth." Do you
Oh,
know
Harry,
him?
he's from Global Music Space. Thanks for joining, man.
Hi Harry. So how's it going now? Like the lockdown is happening, and that's why we couldn't get the entire band together. So
Huh.
how are you guys? Working. Working together. Are you? How's it going now?
Everybody is busy just doing dishes and cleaning and mopping the floors. And
Oh, that is
yeah,
that's
and
the
we all tried doing exactly one discussion and songwriting session on Zoom. It was terrible. And the
oh.
whole joy of meeting up and, like, spending
Mm.
hours just like making music and, like, talking about, okay, what is next, what do you want to do, or even just discussing like personal stuff. You need all of that. So
Yeah.
but all of us are still in touch, and I'm trying to write a few riffs. I send it to Mayank, he records drums, and he sends a file back. And, like, no one's given up, but just that it's too time consuming, especially, like, suddenly even 24 hours starts feeling less, and you are
Huh.
spending 4 to 5 hours only doing household work when you've not volunteered
Oh.
for it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a tough part about being at home all the time, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. So now hopefully everything's opening up. Things are easing out a little bit. We just have to be uh, careful,
Patient
safe,
and
and
careful.
I think by end of this month, we start rehearsing at someone's house. Like, maintain good amount of distance, wear masks, and jam. So whatever's possible.
Yeah. We're looking forward to that when we can do the jam sessions live again.
Sure.
Fingers crossed. Yeah. So, okay, I wanted to ask you. So, Zignema, right? How did you come up with the name?
Okay. So honestly, I've always been a guy who believes, like, what's in the name. Like, you push in enough amount of work, and if your work is heard to a decent bunch of audience, the name automatically has some sort of
Right.
value.
Yeah.
So I'm a I've done my bachelor's in science, and my main subject was botany and chemistry. So there,
Oh,
there was this
algae.
entire
That's
chapter in my third year called as Zignema, and it's a freshwater algae. And it just sounded like, okay, it sounds cool, and I don't think any band calls themselves, I mean, they name themselves after an algae. I was like, if there can be a big band named as Anthrax, it's a virus. So I did
yeah.
all sorts of reasoning, and that time I didn't even know how to play the guitar, but I already thought of a band name. I said, so it's a crazy things that we as college kids used to do. Like, I have a band name, but I don't have a band, nor do I know how to play the guitar. Now that I have a band name, I will start learning the guitar. That's how it started, backwards for me. So
But it's like goal setting. That's awesome. Yeah.
yeah, it just happened, and it's been around, and nobody minds that name. If somebody minded that name, my band would have told me, boss, it's high time you change the name. But we're
But
pretty,
no,
yeah,
if no one knows it's an algae, also, like, it sounds very cool, actually.
yeah.
Zigzema. So,
It starts with Z and then Y, the last two letters from the bottom.
yes.
So we know where to find us, always at the bottom.
Oh. But okay, so some of the comments. Manglish Munshi, who is incidentally my sister, is
Oh,
saying,
nice.
I had a yeah, she's here to support me, I guess. So
Very
thank you,
nice.
Shay. Yeah, so she's saying, I had a bio teacher who wanted to name her kids after algae. Oh, nice. Okay. What did
You
you
won't
name,
want
right? But
Not with
okay.
human beings, I believe. But yeah, I have.
But okay, that'll be different. But then there's Mehal Dehaid saying the Doppler effect. Oh, there are so many bands named on science stuff. The Doppler effect.
I think Mehul is the
Yeah.
same guy. He's from Manipal, Jaipur. A very active guy in his
Oh.
music. Hi, Mehul.
Hi, Mehul. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining the live.
Yes.
Okay, so I was going to ask, yeah, so how do you make sure, like, this is a question I was reserving for the end. So I'd written a big list of questions, but
Sure.
so like, we see a lot of bands, right? Indie music bands and bands in general. How do you make sure, like, you guys stay together? We always see bands during a duration of time, but you guys have stayed strong for so many years. So what would you say is the secret behind the strong,
Well,
you know?
honestly, there is no secret. In fact, we've had lineup changes, but it's unfortunately always been the bass players. I think bass players are always the least serious ones in general. So
Oh,
I'm
okay.
just yeah. So Ravi, our first bass player, was with us for a good 6 years. But then
Oh, that's a long time.
after a while, he found his true calling. He wanted to pursue art and visual illustration and a lot of things. So
Okay.
after we played our first show in Germany in 2011, so he was already dating Selena, who happens to be a German who stays in Munich, and they met in
Okay.
Bonn. So
Oh,
he decided to stay back with her for a month, and he wanted to explore Europe, and he happened to land up in Czech Republic, and he decided that he wants to go to an art school over there in Prague,
oh
and he did his
wow.
masters in. And he's doing brilliant now. He's doing really, really well. He's married and he's settled in Munich with Selena. He's got a very cute baby girl, and and we are still in touch. And he had come down to India, so that way we are still a family. So he found his true calling. He wanted to pursue that, and it's just that okay, like you want to go, you have to go. You have to do what you have to do. Like like
Yeah.
only if metal music was paying your bills, then people would have thought twice.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
So
that's what. So we'll get into that also little later on. But yeah,
sure.
that's interesting how, like journeys, where it starts and where it goes on. Like it's like a beautiful story that he can tell his kids also when she grows up.
Yeah.
So, I want to talk about your music also. So you said your first album, right? So the album which I have listened to is on of 2010. It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yes. So Born in Unity. So is that the first album?
Born of Unity is the first album, yes. 2010, I don't, yes, it was released on June 4th, 2010. June 4th or 6th. I think it was June
Hmm.
6th. It was one day before Ravi's birthday. And we remember after our first album launch gig, we went to his terrace and we were partying and we brought his birthday. So he was like super happy that, he got his own first album as his birthday gift. So,
That's nice. It's a beautiful gift. No, you work
yeah,
hard for
small
it.
things that make
Yeah.
us foolish musicians happy.
Why would you call yourself foolish musicians? That's an
Because we
interesting
are
cue.
sentimental. Musicians are sentimental, which is why we can emote through expression, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Actually,
get
yes.
blinded by it.
Yeah, but what you're talking about is like deep. And I found that metal music, even the lyrics that you use, is pretty deep. Like even the album names and stuff, Born in Unity. So, what was the idea behind that album as such?
Okay, there. Honestly, there was no idea as such. Till date, we just like to write based on what we currently feel. So,
Okay.
like if you look at it, like if you're feeling angry, if you want to be vocal about something, we just write about it. In fact, we have a
Hmm.
song that describes a post-breakup phase.
Okay.
So
Oh,
it,
wow. Huh.
it's just write about anything and everything. If it's about uh, uh, people being brainwashed to certain issues, so just write about it. Like we wouldn't hold ourselves back and try to verify or validate our own thought. I'm like, okay, if you like it,
Hmm.
just do it. If you don't like it, maybe we'll archive it, we'll use it. And it has
Later.
happened. We were not too
Hmm.
sure about a song back in 2011, but it made it to our second album. So
Oh,
obviously
okay.
a lot
Huh.
of revamping happens. You evolve as
Hmm.
musicians and you want to rewrite it. So all of that happened,
Hmm.
and it's fun
Yeah.
that way.
So it's mostly emotional inspiration.
Yeah, like a lot of things that keep happening around you. So you want to either speak about
Hmm.
it or connect it to some sort of memory, or whether it's nostalgia or something, because we know there are too many takers on it. But
Hmm.
what our only hurdle is that uh, metal bands are not that great with PR, and I'm talking about it because I've been a victim of it, in the sense, we are just lazy. Uh, you learn about it later on, so obviously we learned in due
Hmm.
time, and we are still learning.
Hmm.
And uh,
And I think it just blew up also, like when it comes to social media PR, it just blew up like in the recent years also.
exactly. In the past 5 years, there has been it's evolved so much that, and plus, all these social media and digital platforms, they keep changing their algorithm time to time.
Hmm. Yes.
So you don't know what
Hmm.
exactly works when. So staying updated. So for a person like me, I tend to give up. Whether I'm supposed to learn my instrument correctly or whether I'm supposed to learn digital marketing. So
Yes,
you
that's a
get caught in
tough
a
part.
crossfire. So,
Hmm. Yeah, I
like
think that's a tough part of indie musicians in general, that indie musicians face in general, I think, doing
correct.
this both together.
Yeah, even if you get hold of a good PR agent here in India,
Hmm.
what are the odds? We are not even, that's not even a market. Like, how many people want
Hmm.
to hear you scream? Like.
Yeah. Okay, yes. So I wanted to get into that when I talked about your live sessions, because you had a Europe tour and then you had an India tour as well. So
Uh,
yes, I'll get into that after. First, let's talk about your music. So
okay.
someone had asked a question here. What do you think of today's music, which is necessarily not focused on lyrics, or some of them even miss lyrics? OG Anju is asking.
Okay, what do you think of today's music business? Not focus on lyrics. I mean, people want to consume what they like,
Hmm.
and you can't stop anyone from consuming what they like. Like
Hmm.
everyone has a personal connect, and if somebody likes it, then probably they have visualized something in their own mind.
Hmm.
uh, yeah, lyrics are damn important for me personally, and if it doesn't move me from within uh,
Hmm.
with the right instrumentation, then it definitely doesn't have that recall value where I feel like, okay, oh, I need to go back to it. And
Hmm. Yeah.
for us, at least, we have been blessed with a person who likes to write thoroughly, and who does his thing. Like, It's not too complex. It's not too what do you call it? It's not too in your face. I mean, it is in your face, but it does speak out about what was the
Uh,
intent. It clarifies the intent, and it's easy for people to
yeah.
remember. Anyways, metal music is something, wherever you're growling and screaming, half the lyrics are not understood. I tend to forget if my singer has sung the proper lyrics on stage or not. So
Oh, that
uh,
happens. Okay.
it definitely happens, and we always see, everyone's human, and no one has a great set.
Yeah.
We all tend to make mistake, but at the end of the day, it's
Yeah.
about if you had fun, and it's
Yeah.
about, and lyrics do play an important role that way, because, and again, the dynamics completely change life, because
Hmm. Yeah.
you need to have a solid frontman to entice the audience, and when people are moshing, I'm 99% sure they're not even listening to what you're saying,
Um,
unless it's a
I
Pratik
think
Kuhad set. So
the video got a bit. I'm sorry, but the video got a bit. What do you say? I
I would
missed
say that,
skip.
I'm 99% sure that, like the new audience or the new fan base that come to watch any metal shows, they're not even listening to your lyrics. They're just busy moshing and then drunk out of their brains. And they're having a good time, but
Yeah.
people listen to lyrics only if it's a Pratik Kuhad set. So,
Oh, not necessarily. Like, I think also it applies when you're recording as well. I think when you're making music videos as well, it plays an important role. At least when you can attach subtitles, I guess. There.
yeah, so that is what we recently did with our new music video that we launched last year, 2019. I Am Nothing. So we just, because the
Yes.
lyrics are so damn powerful, so we inserted SRT files on YouTube. So people who are interested in reading what is happening, then it's right there in the video. You just have to switch it on and read
Hmm.
the lyrics, as well
Yes.
as yeah. So yeah, lyrics do play an important role, and as you mentioned, adding subtitles makes a world of a difference. So,
Yes. Especially for people who like to read them. Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, wait, I skipped over a lot of comments. So there was a person who came in between and said, first Indian metal band I became a fan of. I think Sankat. Yeah,
Sanket, hi Sanket,
yes.
thank you, man.
Sanket.
Means a lot.
Hi Sanket. Then over the past 10 years, so he's asked, over the past 10 years, do you think metal scene in India is slowly dying?
No, man, I don't think it's dying. If it was dying, then we wouldn't still be here trying. You know.
Yep, you got the answer.
And thankfully, I won't say that we are on life support. Absolutely not. We are bands tend to grow in the sense age-wise. You tend to wisen up. So you want to make sure that your efforts are more streamlined. And I'm purely speaking from my point of view and my band's point of view. So all of us are on the same page. We want to just streamline our efforts and make sure that it's 100% effective and it gives us the desired result. Like, I'm not saying that okay, we want to win the next Grammy. Like, who doesn't want to? But it's a far-fetched dream. It's good to be a dreamer, but
But only if you dream, right?
it's
You get
important
there.
to, like, get a reality check, which we recently managed to get for ourselves in the past couple of years. Like, paying equal amount of attention to PR, getting international media's attention, even if it's like the small websites. It's important that you reach out to the audience that enjoys consuming this kind of music, because after all, we are not playing Indian or Carnatic music. It's Western music. it's
Yeah.
it's still a question mark for a lot of people. Even if you're walking with the guitar in your hand, people will still come and ask you whether you teach Bollywood tunes. And it's
Oh, have you ever gotten that? Like while performing live anytime? No, right?
no, thankfully no, because like, if there are any Bollywood consumers, in the moment they hear us play, I think
Hmm.
they have had their share of alcohol and music, so they decide to bounce from the venue. So
Oh,
So one guy
oh,
came and told us, like, we are like those pest control guys, who get rid of pests from the venue, who want to throw money and dance and all that. It happened in Delhi, like,
oh,
one guy wanted to give us 20 rupees if we played one Hindi song, and he was pissed
oh
now.
my God. Okay, that's good.
We had to speak to him in his language, and, like, the audience was
Huh.
amazing. They made him crowd surf without him knowing. He didn't even ask for it, but then he got what it deserved. He got a great crowd surf. He got scared and then he left. I guess I don't know what happened.
The crowd defended you guys actually.
See, it's a part of an experience. Like if it was some other guy who would have enjoyed the crowd surf, great. I don't know. He was
But
probably
I mean,
you had to finish a set. So
yeah, I mean, they crowd surfed him with the intention to remove it. So
I guess
yeah, yeah. So there's Mehaldehyde saying only if people make effort to hear past the distorted guitars and growling vocals, metal is beautiful.
hey, see that guy's an engineer. He by hearts all the lyrics, so he can chill.
Okay, have your folks heard your track? Could you tell us their reaction to the growl?
Of course, my parents have come for quite a few gigs, and my mom enjoyed it. She doesn't understand the lyrics at all, but she's a huge fan of Mayank. Like she loves to hear the sound of drums, and they're comfortable with the bad word chants that happen during the gig. No, like
Oh.
"maa bhai ko gali hota hai." So they're like, we are used to it now, so it's cool. So
But what was the reaction first when you started the band? And
So I think way back in 2006 or 7, we were playing a show at Andheri SP College, Sardar Patel Engineering College, and for the first time we were getting a chance to play an open air gig. So as young as we were, and the angst to play open air gig, we were really psyched about it, and we distributed handwritten printed Xerox flyers to people to come and watch, and plus there were engineering students over there, so they were like, the crowd was massive, and it was a cricket ground without grass, so when crowd was moshing there was like a huge huge cloud of dust coming everywhere. So my dad panicked, like he thought some riot or some fight broke out. And,
okay, so sweet.
and he was carrying his video handycam. Back then handycam was a thing, so to film, okay, first gig, let's see what he does. But then he filmed only the dust throughout the set and not the stage.
But did he get the audio? No, I don't think so, right? It would be
Back
too
in the
loud.
day, like no sense for others, what audio, what video. It's just
Yeah.
That was
But that's
very-
nice. He sounds very supportive, like he recorded the whole thing, like, your first gig.
So he even complained that the kick drum was too loud and he could feel the vibration in his chest. So that was his grievance. But I said that is something that we can't reduce. That is the whole charm of metal. You can't feel it,
Yeah.
not metal. So
Oh, okay. So Sankat is saying, I remember one incident in B69. One guy wanted Hindi music and we destroyed him in the mosh pit. I think he's talking about a similar incident or the same one.
Oh,
B69.
no.
Yeah.
Bhutan is in Bombay. Okay, that venue is it has got a lot of memories because at one point Bombay's most famous venue was Raspberry Rhinoceros. A lot
Okay.
of bands would come and play shows, In fact, back in the day, Sahil from Demonic Resurrection used to organize and host a lot of gigs. So a lot of people would go and enjoy metal music and beer and whatnot, because that was the only place that would cater to such kind of nonsense back in the day. But
Oh, good. Oh, yeah.
and suddenly, due to some police permission, due to some licensing issue, Raspberry Rhinoceros shut. And
Oh my God.
we had no venue. And for a brief period, it was only college gigs that would happen. But those regular Thursday and Sunday night shows that used to happen on once in 15 days or 20 days stopped. Like I remember going there and witnessing my first Iron Maiden tribute gig where Zenin was performing. Then I remember watching PDV over there, PDV Spin Drop Violence. So that's where a lot started for all of us, okay, that feeling, I want to be in a band, I want to play at Raz. So I got to play one gig at Raz, and after that it shut. And then suddenly cut to 2008, Ashu, the guy who used to play for Zenin, also the founder of Bajao.com, he decided to start a metal venue for the bands, where he'll give them the best backline and everything, just come and play, keep the kids. He had a very flexible,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, he had a very flexible business model that, if four bands come together and pull in the money, they can even recover it at that speed. And trust me, the first edition of the B69 gig, there were about 500 to 600 people. We had to send 200 people home because there was no place
Oh,
in the venue. There
that
was
must
no
have
place
been
in the
fun
venue.
actually.
Sorry?
Yeah. That must have been fun to perform there, like,
It was brilliant, and there were only four air conditioners in the venue, and it failed because there were so many people.
Oh, oh
So
my God.
the entire floor was slippery because of sweat and moisture, and people were slipping and falling, but people would pick each other up. So that became the whole B69 culture, and where even though people didn't know what bands are playing, they would peacefully make every weekend plan that where do you have to go? Okay, let's go to B69. There might be something happening. So people were happy, the
That's
band
nice.
were happy, and B69 eventually ended up becoming Big 69. That was a big festival at
Okay.
Richardson and Crudis, and Baja organized it, and Baja managed to get about some 5 to 6 international acts like your Sixth, Carcass, uh, too many bands, and there were about like some 50, 60 bands overall, 3 stages. It was a
Hmm.
massive festival, and after that, we are still waiting for another Big 69 to happen. And just to
Hopefully
bring
soon.
back those memories, in
Hmm.
2019, we said, okay, let's the band, like Zignama, all four of us decided, let's start our own small little festival. Let's see how this goes. Let's see how many
Oh,
people show
wow.
up. So yeah,
That would be cool.
yeah. So we started a festival named as Scarfest, named after our song Scarface. And I can
Okay.
proudly say that there were about 480 paid entries at Antisocial. Um,
Wow.
and that's where our faith was restored. So when someone says, "Is the metal scene dying?" No. If you put in enough heart and your soul to put something
Yeah.
together, you will definitely bear results. So you just have to be a little patient, and it just lies. So
Exactly. And I think, like, as far as my personal experience is that, like, every other friend of mine I've had, every other third person is a metal fan. So, so I don't think the scene is dying as such. So you can't really say that, right?
I think personally, people who are from the earlier generation, like me, who have witnessed PCO phone calling your friends, having a lot of 1 rupee coin in your pocket, no mobile
Oh,
phone, and we used to suffer with 26 kbps dial-up internet connections, and where YouTube was an obsolete concept. Like, so for us, discovering music was only through magazines, newspapers,
yeah.
radio, MTV, Headbangers Ball. So it was all of that. So the medium for promoting and reaching out to people was very limited.
Hmm.
Now it's like a huge sea. You don't know which direction to swim in. So I think
Yeah.
we just have to keep searching and improving our approach to reach out to more audience, because uh, I spoke about Scarface. So as a small effort, we did a bunch of listening sessions.
I think I lost you.
Sorry, is it okay now?
Yeah, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, sorry. I was saying that we during Scarfest, the prequel to the gig was, we hosted 3 to 4 listening sessions where we were only playing music of Indian artists, Indian bands, and it was an
Oh,
to uh, open invitation to anyone and everyone, free entry. So we hosted this
okay.
listening sessions at music academies or restaurants, whatever venues were possible, who agreed to this. And I met 3 people, I remember, who love Iron Maiden, who love Metallica, who love Megadeth, and like the right kind of music. But they were like, "Oh, all these were Indian bands." I'm like, "Yes, my friend, these were all Indian bands." So then that guy was very happy to take the list of all the bands that we played during the session, and I think that is something that I used to attend back in the day. It was
Hmm.
called as listening sessions by Bombay Rock Association. So
Oh, okay.
so I
Uh,
was I was 19, and I had just bought a new guitar. I didn't know where to go with the guitar and whom to learn from. And my friend took me. He's like, something of this sort happens. Why don't you want to? Why don't you join me and see what happens? So for the first time, somebody played Rush. I heard Rush. I was like, oh my god, what is that? It sounds fantastic. Somebody played Steve Vai's Bad Horsey. I still remember that Bad Horsey song hit me like a huge avalanche, and I still love that song, Bad Horsey
okay.
by Steve Vai. And then I remember that guy promoted Zero's debut album. Zero is from Bombay, they are an Indian band. So their debut
Okay.
album called as Hook. And I heard the whole
Hook.
album in that
Okay.
listening session.
Hmm.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful, and because of that, I ended up attending Zero's gig in the next coming
Oh.
month. So, and that is the exact same vibe I wanted to pull off, like, where you connect with the audience face to face, even if it's like 5 or 6 people, it has to be so
Hmm.
personal that, they will remember this throughout their life, that, okay, I got to learn about so and so bands at so and so sessions. So I
Hmm.
definitely want to continue hosting these free listening sessions where I keep playing all the Indian bands. Like, the list goes up to 4 to 5 hours,
Hmm.
but you have to downsize it based on the number of attendees. But
Yeah.
it's a great initiative, and if there are people listening to this, if you guys think y'all want to make your friends listen to Indian metal or whatever metal, whether it's from Sweden or from Norway, wherever, just try and host such kind of sessions, where they'll be more aware, and
Yeah.
you might change somebody's life. So,
Yeah, you probably will. That's a good, a good way to spread music also. Good
absolutely.
music. Yes. Okay, so since we're talking about lives, I will go to the question I wanted to ask you actually. So you did the tour, and then you did the India tour, right?
Correct.
So what was like, did you find the European audience more receptive or the Indian audience more receptive? Which one was more receptive to?
It's honestly the same, because after all, everyone loves to listen to metal. The only the
Okay.
only trouble we had was uh, having a fluent conversation with them, especially in France, Germany, in Poland. So thanks to technology, we were using Google Translate on our cell phones, and
Oh, that's nice.
so yeah, yeah, and like people are, they're same. They're crazy. When it comes to liking music, if they like your music, then they'll shower you with a lot of love, and they send a lot of beer on stage. They come and buy tons of merch, and it's the same over here. Like, fans are the
Hmm.
same. Like, they love coming and supporting you. They have their
What
own
about
way of.
the organizers of the events? Like, like when you owners, how do they react to you? Like when you say you're a metal band?
Obviously, for them, it's initially it comes as a surprise, because for them, India means only sitar and tabla and Bollywood.
Yes.
But now slowly the perception is changing. In the past 10 years, it has changed, thanks to a lot of other opportunities and platforms. Like, a lot of bands have gone abroad and played on exchange programs. So the first exchange
Hmm.
program was Inferno Metal Festival that Amit Sehgal from RSG started. Uh,
Oh.
yeah, Amit Sehgal, rest in peace. He's a gem of a guy. He was the founder of
Hmm.
RSG magazine, and
Hmm.
he went all the way to Norway. He met up with the proprietor of the festival. He said, let's do an exchange. He founded GIR in India, Great Indian Rock. It used to be a big deal
Hmm.
across India, and they have gotten down some big names, and they've had some great reception. And all of this happened before NH7, and before all the other festivals.
Oh, the
So
weekend. Yes.
yeah, so Amit Sehgal was the flag bearer of metal and rock back in the day, and
Hmm.
so thanks to him, he started this. So based because of this, a lot of other European countries started opening up platforms and
To
avenues for us.
Indian.
Yeah. So after
Yeah.
that, Bangalore Open Era happened. Where Salman managed to get that hook with Wacken Metal Battle, and now all the Indian bands keep going to Wacken. Uh,
Oh, okay.
so
Hmm.
it and we played Wacken in 2012, and
Yes.
man, suddenly you're playing in front of 10 to 12,000 European people. No, I was
Oh,
scared. I was scared as hell, but I enjoyed it thoroughly as well. So
it's like a challenge, like a different experience altogether, right?
yeah, 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 absolutely. And first 5 minutes were like, pure nervousness, and I was
Hmm.
shaking. But once the first song was over, I was just all of us were just having fun, and we were worried like how will the Germans, and actually it's just not the Germans, people from across the world come for Wacken, and how will they react to it? And then next
Hmm.
year we got a mail from Inferno saying, okay, like, let's do this. Why don't you guys come to Inferno? And that our
Oh.
event was finally read and responded to, and we were again thrilled. But again, we had our own fear, like, oh, Norway,
Hmm.
it's a platform, or it's a mecca for black metal, and we don't play black
Hmm.
metal. We play groove metal
Hmm.
that people won't like, and we are playing with a bunch of death and black metal bands. What are we going to do? So
Hmm. Hmm.
let's just be ourselves and have fun, and let's see what happens. And we were surprised. Like, we got the same kind of reception that we get here in Bombay or anywhere else. So it was a
Okay,
full
that's
house.
great.
Yeah.
Hmm. It was loud. Was it? But I think they could accommodate people better, like, right? Or is it
Because
like the
it's a
same?
lifestyle for them. Like how people listen to any Bollywood song
Hmm.
regularly while they're traveling or whatever. For them,
Hmm.
metal
Hmm.
music means more. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I might be wrong, but how has Bollywood music changed anyone? Like, I don't mean to like question anyone, but it's just a personal question. Like, I listen to all types of music. I like listening to good music, but
Hmm.
somewhere I feel that tiny disconnect with the music that is being made today. Uh,
Today, huh?
from
Okay.
Bollywood,
The
yeah. Very few artists actually make good music, but again, the indie space is like expanding like crazy, and I
yes,
would like to
actually.
put in my time, my effort, and my money in that space, where people are actually learning an instrument and owning up their skills and doing something about it. So, even if it's
Yes,
one album, it's an effort that has to be acknowledged and appreciated. So,
yes, definitely. Like, especially since we are forming an indie music community with on our platform, we
yeah.
get to, interact with so many amazing independent musicians from India,
Mhm.
especially, and they're so like I feel like they deserve more limelight. Some of them really like almost all of them make such amazing music, and they put in so much effort, and it's really commendable. But
Yes, if
yeah.
you try and calculate the number of hours and number of hours put in creating a frustration into passion and productivity, it's infinite.
Hmm.
So, you know, uh, at one point, a lot of upcoming indie artists have to make this, what do you call? They have to accept certain facts that, okay, if I'm playing XYZ style of music,
Hmm.
this is the route I have to take, or that is the route I have to take. Well, there is no such pre-made route. You just have to carve your own path and see where that leads to. So
Hmm.
eventually
It's
you will
like
have a
an
lot of takers, and it takes time. Like, even any band, if they give at least say 5 to 6 years uh, in their work, I mean, if they put in that kind of belief and time and wait for 5 years, I'm sure it will show them some silver lining and some hope.
hmm. Yes, we hope for that too. That's why we're doing this. so, yeah. So okay, fine. So we were about your latest music video. That is, I Am Nothing.
Correct.
So when you made it, I read about it, and you said, was it only done based on emotional inspiration, like you said before, or did you like hope to like create some change with this song track?
Uh, if it reaches out to people and if it does bring in some change, great.
Hmm.
But obviously, like, one thing that has to be very clear for musicians and for the viewers, that music is something personal. It comes from within.
Hmm.
Like, if we are putting in our time, effort, money, everything, obviously we're going to do something that we feel close to our heart and we want to speak about it. And this was
Hmm.
something that was going out of hands. And the Asifa now cases were just over the
Hmm.
top. And, even 10 years back, even the Jessica Lal murder case, and the crime rate against women had, I mean, it was
Yeah, it's really
disgusting.
bad.
And,
Hmm.
it was the band's conscious decision that, you know, in such cases, there is no happy ending. There is no,
Yeah.
like, let's not be blind. Let's do a little bit of reading, and, like, let's ask a few people. And if you don't know, like, what has come out of it?
Hmm.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So, which is why we kept the
Hmm.
video a little morbid. We didn't want to show
Hmm.
any,
Yes,
because it's
it
not a
is
movie,
a
it's
little
a
more.
reality.
Yes,
Yeah.
but
In fact,
yes. So
yeah.
Go ahead. Yes,
Yeah.
sorry.
In fact, I didn't want to bring this up, but like two to three well-known web designs from abroad, they saw the video, they gave us a thumbs up. Like they even said a few good things like, "Oh, thank you for championing this cause and great, blah blah blah. We'll run this internally and we will get back to you." So after a
Okay.
few weeks, they get back to us saying like, graphic violence. We'll get a few slack and
Oh.
stuff. And so, I doubt we'll be
Hmm.
able to stream this, but if you want us to, if you want to work with us in future, which is less graphic, we'll be
Oh.
up for it. So everyone's worried about their online image, which is virtual, and I'm
Yes.
surprised. But it's okay. I think we were ready for such
Hmm.
consequences, and we're not
Yes.
expecting the sky from it. Eventually, it will pick up, and people might uh, do what is necessary.
Yes. I hope so. Everyone who is with us, go check it out. It's I Am Nothing by Zigma Tube, the channel. It's a very powerful video and song. So you guys please tune in. And yes, so I've also have you made other tracks about societal issues?
As of now, nothing. We're just in the phase of writing, composing music instrumentally. Lyrically, things start falling in place once, Jimmy hears all the tracks. Once the structure is final, then he gets a clear vision
Hmm.
that, okay, I want to do this, I want to do that, and I want to write about this. And it's always a goal, like, just write what you feel like writing, man. Because, all of us are in it for a reason,
Hmm. Hmm.
expressing emotions through music, so
Yeah.
if try and control it and dilute it, where's the fun in that? So might as well
Yeah.
not do it. So
I think that's the beauty of metal also. You can go all out also, right? With
exactly.
yes.
In fact, I'm sorry I forgot to mention this. Like out of anger, Jimmy decided to name the previous album. It's a long title, but it says, "What makes us human is obsolete."
It's obsolete. Yes, I read
Yeah.
it and I was like, it's like poetry almost.
And
Yeah.
it's true. And like we were like, yeah, man, it's true. Like whatever you want to do, it's never going to happen. And even if you see the album art, like we were it took us like 3 months to finalize on the concept for an album cover, like,
Hmm.
and we were deciding and thinking like what are those things that actually can be shown graphically that describes the human nature. And then one of our friends just said, hey, how about you just get rid of the heart and mind and just show everything around it and the world burning,
Huh.
like, yeah, that should be able to put the message out
Yes. It's
for
like
those
a
who understand. Yeah,
yes abstract representation. Yeah.
exactly.
Cool.
And in fact, I was really keen on like pushing one topic. Back in the day, like 2014, 15. I think the ISIS problem still exists. A lot of
Hmm.
small children who are given they're armed and they're like, okay, that's the
Yeah.
target. Just go and pull the
Hmm.
trigger. And like that is something that really disturbs me to an extent. And I was like being very persistent, and I was pushing Jimmy like why don't we write about something like how these kids are brainwashed and how they only see two colors, that is gray and red. Gray is because
Oh.
you take
Hmm.
away the childhood from the small child, and you put a gun,
Yeah.
so you're taking away the innocence and uh, the power of
Wonder
compassion.
and
Yeah.
yes, compassion. Hmm.
So they
And
they
you
don't
fill
feel
it.
anything.
Hmm.
So Reform Rebirth, that track is about that, and where
Hmm.
and I think that track took a bit of time to write, and I personally love that track and the way it sounds and everything. Uh,
Hmm.
so whatever just crops up in front of us, that, and if you feel strongly about it, we like, okay, this is what we feel, and we should write about this. Let's try and put this on an album. It's a very simple process. We don't
Hmm.
pre-plan anything; it just comes on and off.
And goes in flow.
Yeah.
Hmm. Awesome. So, okay, now you were also talking about you said something about money and indie also, like music and stuff before. So, what would you say are the pros and cons of being in the music industry and being an independent artist?
Pros, well, it's a great emotional outlet. You know,
Hmm.
uh, uh, you get to have a lot of fun, and you don't give a damn about anything. Those are the pros, but it doesn't pay your bills for sure.
Oh, the cons. Yeah.
But playing music in general, not only metal, any form. I don't see a jazz band in India doing phenomenally
Hmm.
well, and, selling millions of records and making money. Because again, English is not a primary language. Like how many people
Hmm.
do it? Tomorrow in Karnataka, if Raghu Dixit is walking on the road, people might catch him, and he's a big star in South. And
Hmm.
so regional artists in indie space definitely tend to do a lot better. Say, for example, Thaikadam Bridge has picked up like
Yeah.
crazy, and then they're doing really well, and they're phenomenal live. And
Yes.
like you know, like credits where it's due. Musically also they're pretty tight, and language is something that, to an extent, acts as a barrier, according to me, in metal. So
Hmm.
if uh, that is that is something that I ask people to think twice. Like if you strongly feel
Hmm.
you want to play metal exactly the way it is being done, go for it. But just be patient and don't expect the sky from it. Unless you're a prodigy and you tend to bring something new to the table, and shit moves for
Or
you. So
someone
great.
manages to mix, I think, Hindi or regional languages, God knows, with metal, God knows.
As I said,
Hmm.
you have to just take the risk of believing in what you want to do, carve your own path, and
Hmm.
there is no pre-made template in this. You know,
Yeah. It's
so
just
it
wonderful experiences, life experiences. Those are the good,
and it,
worth
it
it.
changes as and when you start releasing material, you start putting stuff out, you start playing more shows, you meet
Hmm.
experienced musicians, they give you wonderful insights, they share their
Hmm.
experience, you get to share the stage with them. All of that plays a big role in molding your thought process.
Hmm.
And somewhere down the line, traveling abroad and playing shows abroad, touring abroad, did bring in that change for us, where we stopped thinking at a specific level where, okay, chalta hai, hota hai, hone do. Like, no, you
Huh.
have to bring in some perfection, you have to bring in some uh,
Hmm.
unison, you have to bring in something that people can take back home as a visual memory. It has to be nostalgia. And tomorrow, if you put up an update saying, okay, you're playing after 2 months somewhere here, if you have been able to connect emotionally and correctly with your audience, they'll
Hmm.
travel. They'll travel to
Hmm.
watch. That's the power of music.
Yeah,
So,
that's true. People would do that if they
yeah,
have.
exactly.
Yeah.
I remember the first metal edition of Control Alt Delete that happened at Blue Frog. And the boys from 4x4 Entertainment, they put up a baller of a lineup. It was such an amazing lineup. I don't think that lineup can ever repeat. And even if it does repeat, we need a very big venue. And I don't think Blue Frog has ever seen close to 1,000 people in one night.
Oh my God. Okay. Wow.
It
That's
was
a lot.
unreal.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
the best bands, you name it. There was Undying, there was Noiseware, there was Providence, there was Devoid, Gutslit, Reptilian Death, like all veterans, and
Hmm.
it was fabulous. And even at 12:30 in the night when we stepped on stage, there were close to 700 to 800 people, and like we remember people coming and telling us, we took a tempo from Indore and we came. We like 40 people from Indore who's come all the way to Bombay. Like till Noah came all
Wow.
the way from Nasik and
Such
Pune. Like,
passion.
yes, mainly the lineup was such, and more importantly, like a lot of people uh, believe that okay, this might be the only chance we get to see this lineup under the same
Yeah.
roof, and
Hmm.
it was pay what you want.
It's like your favorite, like almost like your favorite playlist, like of favorite
Exactly,
artists put
exactly
together. Yeah.
under the same roof. So I'm sure like people who were there, they still thank Control or Delete for putting this together, and
Hmm.
people who missed it, they are cursing themselves for being lazy and not stepping out of the house. So
Yeah. They won't miss the next one if it happens.
absolutely.
Okay, so we are almost at the end of our shuffle session. So, do you want to this thing? It was a really fabulous conversation we had. We had an insight into a lot of things. And would you also like to speak about any new releases coming up? You can give us a snippet.
I wish we had
Let you
some
know.
new releases, but then as things are easing up a little bit in lockdown now, uh, we will start rehearsing again, and hopefully things will move faster. But our objective is to put out and finish our album in 2021 before we grow too old, because metal requires a lot of anger, and with age your anger subsides, because real world issues start burdening your shoulders. So
I think it just requires passion, and I think you guys
I
will
know, I
have
know.
that for a long time.
I know, like we still look up to Iron Maiden, man. They are in their late
Yeah.
60s and they're still touring, and they're amazing. Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, everyone. So we would love to keep rocking till that age, but yes, uh, third album definitely happening early 2021. Uh,
You know
things
when to
are
catch it. Hmm. Yes. Okay. We hopefully you will catch it on social mob as well.
yes, absolutely. That's the whole plan. We'll have a
Awesome.
chit chat session talking about our third album like we did, and we'll have a lot more people tuning in.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. So
Likewise.
thank you. Thank you, Siddharth. And
Thank you so
thank you
much.
to the
Thanks for
viewers.
having me. Yeah.
This is a really lovely conversation, and we hope, like you said, when new release happens, we will do this once more. And
Sure.
yeah, so I will say bye to the viewers and check out Zigma in on Social More and listen to their music, Zignama, sorry, and
Yeah.
and you will listen to the amazing music. Check out their videos on YouTube. And now I'll let Siddharth say bye to you guys also.
All right. See you guys. Be safe. Don't venture
Yes.
out too much. Take care of everyone. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.